Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate everybody getting here, smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. We are live, and here we go, guys. It's been a while. Good to see all of you guys in here. Like I said, it's been a while. I've been away for a while. Been dealing with a lot of different things and just like adjusting to these markets and where things have been going. And man, it has been a ride and adventure to start being able to navigate these markets with how choppy things have been. But guys, we are getting the groove rocking and rolling once again. So appreciate everybody in here smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe, and let's jump into it. Right, let's have the discussion. Where is Bitcoin headed? Right, Bitcoin's been chopping up and down, moving left and right. Nobody knows. And everybody, yesterday on Monday, Bitcoin pumped over $3,600 in a month, and in a day. And everybody got super excited because they were expecting major price drop with the conflict that was starting to be that started over the weekend, right? And now I'm sure a lot of people were going long yesterday, assuming that we're going to go higher and higher because the pump was going. And then today we've dropped it all the way back down once again, losing everything that we've gained from yesterday. And the question is, are we going to keep dropping or are we going to keep pumping back up? Because today, now we've pumped back up again today as people are expecting lower price action. So let's jump over here to the chart. Right? Let's stop talking about it. Let's start showing it. So what's been happening here? Very simple. Let me turn some of this stuff off to make this chart a little bit cleaner for you guys. Let's turn this off here real quick. Let's get rid of... Let's hide this here. Perfect. All right. So yesterday, as we start off the day, right, we had a strong bounce and we rallied all the way to the previous week high at 69,987. We tapped that area yesterday. And as we tapped that area, before we even started tapping that area, I warned everybody in the Crypto Citadel, right? Here it is. Here's the receipts, right? I said, hey, Bitcoin short, previous week high is the condition, entry 69,987, TP1 68.2, TP2 6,700, TP3, if it was going to get crazy, would be 62,400. Now, we'd have not hit TP3, but we did hit TP1 and 2, right? The trade was posted at 10:40 a.m. The sweep was confirmed by 12 p.m., right? By 12 p.m., the sweep was confirmed. We got the confirmation. And by this morning today, we had already hit TP1 and TP2, dropping all the way down below 67,000. Now, back over here to the trade, right? We created a downtrend here throughout the day during the Asia and London trading sessions. But as we entered the New York session, what happened? We started to drop and we actually swept the London low. Right, we swept the London low, sweeping that liquidity, was able to push us back up. We rallied up to the upper side of the orb for the day. We broke above orb here of 67,500. The entry for the trade was down here, which was also posted in the Crypto Citadel earlier this morning at around 8:34 a.m. I was like, hey, Bitcoin long, this is a day trade condition, London low sweep, enter 66,286, right? And then TP1, TP2 have been hit. TP1 at 1016 was hit. TP2 was hit at 1121, and now we're just chilling, right? But this was a fantastic trade here on the way up, sweeping this liquidity, breaking above orb, second confirmation. If you missed this entry here, once you start coming to these levels up here of around 67,600, breaking above the orb, that is the confirmation to go long as a scalp trade. Rallied all the way to the daily open, got rejected, came back to orb held, orb high held, continuation to the upside, and now we're rejecting once again at the daily open. So this trade here for a scalp was actually played out twice, which is a move of over almost 2% from that daily EQ all the way to daily open is 1.76%, which is a fantastic move for a scalp. That is big money ballers right there overall for Bitcoin. And that trade was presented twice if you are following the scalping rules here of what is happening in the market. So besides our day trade hitting TP1 and TP2, this scalp trade has played out twice today as well. So fantastic day overall for scalping and for a intraday swing trade. Appreciate everybody in here. Make sure you guys are tapping those likes. Start filling up those like meters, guys. Everybody watching over here on TikTok, start filling up those like meters. If you're watching over on YouTube and X, make sure you guys are following, hitting that subscribe as well. And yeah, appreciate everybody jumping in here. Let's see if we got anything in the chat here. Everybody being real quiet today. Everybody being real quiet today. Keep filling up those like meters, boys. Keep filling up those like meters. All right, so overall, even though Bitcoin's had a nice little push to the upside today, altcoins are pretty much in the red here. The only thing up in the green of any significance is this River coin, which I've never even heard of. Small market cap here, 362 million, up 32% today, 106% on the week, 35% on the month. So don't know what the heck that is or what's going on there. But as we can see as well over here with Bitcoin, Bitcoin's dominance is starting to climb back up above 59%. Bitcoin dominance climbs, altcoins start to be held back, right? They cannot pump as well as long as Bitcoin dominance is rising. Appreciate everybody in here tapping those likes. Drop your questions into the chat, guys. Drop your questions into the chat if you have any questions. 330 million small market cap, LOL. Yeah, that is a small market cap, to be honest. If that's how it goes to show you how much of a degen most people are thinking that 300 million is not a small market cap in crypto, right? Large market caps start at $1 billion, right? And 1 billion is low on the large market caps. You got some mid tiers that are between $1 billion to about 500 million at most. You start dropping below 500 million, you start dropping into the lower tiers. Anything below 500, especially below 100, is very micro cap cryptos, right? But 300 million is a small cap, in case you didn't know, in case you didn't have proper risk management and know what the heck you're talking about. Now you know. Now you know, because you're thinking 300 million like we're in traditional markets. And even then, 300 million in traditional markets is still extremely small. 300 million in crypto means nothing. It means nothing. How many billion-dollar altcoins have we seen go to zero? How many multi-$100 million, 500, 600, 800 million dollar altcoins have we seen go to zero over the years, right? So 300 don't mean a damn thing. Is Bitcoin going for longs this week? So Bitcoin right now, all right, we swept that low here of the London low around 62,000. What was it? 66,200. Right, we swept that low, and now we're pushing back up. We got rejected off the previous week high yesterday at 69,987. So unless Bitcoin can flip this previous week high on the 4-hour time frame of 69,000, we're still bearish on Bitcoin, right? Overall for the week. Now we could be creating a push here. We're going to see If we get above 69.9 and we start closing a 4-hour candle above that price point, then the invalidation occurs. The previous week high sweep that happened yesterday is invalidated, and a push towards 74,300 becomes way more likely for this week. Now, if we come all the way back up to the previous week high of 69,900 and we reject, we sweep that area once again, right? And we get rejected from that area once again, we'd be creating a larger double top scenario on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, on the daily time frame on the previous week high key level, and that would probably signify a stronger push to the downside. But right now, the fact that we swept yesterday, we've come down to the previous week EQ of 66,188, swept that low. We're having a reversal, right? We need to wait for confirmation, but right now it's looking like there's a good chance that we could pop above the previous week high, invalidate that sweep, and continue pushing higher into the $71,000 to $74,000 region. Now, like I said, we do not have confirmation of that invalidation just yet. So until we can close a 4-hour candle above 69,000, right, let's call it 70,000, we do not have the invalidation to continue looking for higher. Appreciate everybody in here smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. Thank you so much for hanging out here and joining. I greatly appreciate it. I know I've been away for a while, but I will be back now regularly. 2 p.m. Eastern time will be the time of my show here on TikTok, on YouTube, and all other social medias. That is when I will be going live. In the mornings, I do trade. So I do mostly all my trading in the morning between 8:30 a.m. to about 11 a.m. If you guys want to start joining the free trading group here, I'm going to be joining. I'm going to be creating a free scalping group, right? A free scalping group here. There's not going to be any education. There's not going to be any charts posted. We're just trading live. So if you're interested in trading, right, the main difference between the Crypto Citadel and this trading group, even though this trading group is going to be a small segment inside of the Crypto Citadel itself, there is going to be no education. There's going to be no chart analysis. There's not going to be any of that for you guys in there, right? It's just me trading live, and you guys can join on in and verify with my trading exchange. And if you verify, you can participate. If not, you can't. So if you guys are interested in that, interested in joining a free scalp trading group, make sure you're using the link in the bio and you start joining and you start preparing yourselves. It's not ready to rock and roll just yet, but we are going to be getting ready here very soon to start doing that. Just start gaining your spot and making sure you're locking in and staying up to date so when we start that happening. Let's see here. I see somebody. What's going on? I need to learn way better risk management. Yeah, B-Fire. That's one of the biggest things when it comes to learning. I know you're a Crypto Citadel OG. You've been there for a while now. It's one of the toughest things to learn in trading is risk management. Trust me, I spent a long time and I still have moments where I don't use proper risk management, but every time that I don't, I pay for it. And that's how every trader needs to pay attention, right? Is the simple fact that you need to use proper risk management. Now, what does that mean? The simple rules, right? If you're entering into a day trade, and like I did today, right, for this day trade of sweeping the London low and pushing all the way up to around 69,500, that's TP3, right? We've hit TP1 and TP2. On our way to TP1, if you do not plan on closing your trade at TP1, you better be moving your stop loss to break even or at least slightly into the positive. So if the trade does reject after TP1 and drop all the way back down, you will not lose money on that trade, right? You lost the gains from your TP1 that you didn't take, but at least you didn't lose your own capital that you put into the trade. Now, if you don't do that and the trade comes back, it hit TP1 and it drops all the way back to your entry and it hits your stop loss and you lose money, that's terrible risk management. There's no reason to be having a trade go all the way up to at least TP1 or reasonable TP1 as well, right? A take profit one and then rotating it all the way back into your stop loss and getting completely rejected and losing money. That makes no sense. That is not proper risk management. So if you're going to wait for TP2, TP3, start moving that stop loss up, right? Another thing is that you can't overtrade. biggest mistakes that I've made in the past is over trading, especially when it comes to scalping, right? People are used to scalping. They want to take 15, 20 trades a day. Let me tell you guys, the more trades you take, the more likely you're going to lose, right? Or give up what you've made. So like today, perfect example. Today, I took a trade before the London low sweep occurred. I had posted the signal of the London low sweep in the group. But guess what? I took a scalp trade before then, right? I made my 260 bucks or whatever it was that I made that day, made today. Oh, what was it? Right here. Yeah. 263 bucks. Made that real quick. Boom. Took that and I was done, right? I went to the gym. I started running some errands and I was done for the day. How many people can jump into the market, right? Jump into their job, clock into their job, be there for an hour, make 263 bucks and then go home and be free for the rest of the day? Not many, right? But yet proper risk management says take the profit and go. Other people let the greed run and they're like, man, 260 bucks, I'll wait for 500. I'll wait for $1,000, right? They want to get rich quick and they hold on to the trade for too long. Then the trade invalidates and you get wrecked and end up losing. So made my 263 bucks. Guess what? Then the London low sweep came. I could have taken that trade. Right? But what was my mentality? My mentality was, well, I've already made my money for the day. If I go into this trade, which there is never a guarantee the trade will play out, even though it's a great setup, right? We had the orb value area, we had the orb low, and we had the London low, and we had the previous week EQ all there, right? 15-minute, even 5-minute, we dropped below, quickly reclaimed, automatically showing that there was a rejection of breakdown of the orb, showing that there was a movement, there was going to be a movement to the upside, and boom, as a scalp and as a day trade, played out perfectly. Could have made a ton of more money, but guess what? I didn't need to take that extra risk. I had already made my 263 bucks for the day. I'm done. One trade, less than 1 hour. I was in the trade for 2 minutes. I waited for the opportunity to take the trade for about an hour before I took it. And that was it. I was done. There's no reason. I went to the gym, ran some errands, came back home. Now I'm alive, right? So even though this trade still played out and did fantastic and I could have made a bunch of more money, don't overtrade. Don't overtrade. You made your money, get out. Get out. Whether you're scalping, whether it's day trading, right? I know a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, TP1's just not worth it for me financially, right? Dollar amounts. Don't focus on the dollar amounts. Focus on the percentage. Focus on what you're getting for that TP1 on the percent. Lock in those wins, right? It shows you that you are identifying proper trades, you're getting proper entries, finding proper take profits, closing those trades, then signify you are using proper risk management. You're locking in the gains. Even though they're small, you're still locking in the gains. Your account is growing. You're showing that you can control your greed. You can properly manage your risk, and you are identifying proper trades and taking them. So all of that is a huge win. Yes, financially, a dollar amount might not be huge, might not make you rich, but over weeks to months to a year, then you can start increasing size. Then you can start moving up higher. Then you can start using stop loss management to move up and run for later TPs and start taking more profits, then start growing faster. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys smashing those likes in here. Appreciate all of you guys hanging out. Paul Sampson's in here. Hey, what's going on, Paul? What's going on, brother? Kyle, what's going on? Good morning. How about XRP? Let's go take a look at XRP real quick here. Let's go see where XRP is sitting at. Good old XRP. All right, so XRP here, still holding out below 149. Can't seem to be getting above 149 here. We do have some targets to the upside between 170 to 213 as targets here to the upside for XRP. Now, that being said, there are a lot of reasons why XRP is not back up there, right? One is because most XRP people are getting crushed right now, and you guys stop. XRP was never going to drop below $2. And here we are sitting at $1.36 after bouncing off $1.10, right? Now, Bitcoin is not making it easy for altcoins. Bitcoin is dominance is rising. Bitcoin's price has been extremely choppy, has had no real strength, right? Strength into Bitcoin doesn't start to come until we start getting above that $74,000 price point, closing dailies and weeklies above there and having a potential push all the way to 84,000, right? Which we might not get at this point. Bitcoin is showing extreme levels of weakness. Why? Because we're in a bear market. So unless Bitcoin can show strength, right, altcoins are going to continue going sideways and lower, sideways and lower. And yes, there's going to be small little pumps here and there, right? As you guys can see here, Bitcoin XRP had a nice little pump from 111 all the way up to 167, which was a pretty decent move here, right? Of about 47%. And then now it's just slowly giving it back away, right? Slowly dropping back down 24%, give or take, off of that, and just slowly melting away. So it's a bear market, guys. Don't expect major rallies for altcoins. Don't expect altcoin seasons. Keep your eyes on Bitcoin. Where Bitcoin goes, the altcoins will follow. Give me a second here. Oops. Bitcoin to 80K, says Angel. Bitcoin crash again. If Bitcoin does rally towards 74,000 and gets rejected at 74,000, here's why that really matters. Let me show you here on the charts. Let me get rid of this. Let me jump out here to the daily. Right. This is why this matters, guys. So not only is 73,800, but let's just call it 74. 74,000 is the value area high of this range. What is this range here behind me? If you're watching on YouTube, this range right here, right? This is the 2024 yearly range. Bitcoin's price is currently within this range. We've hit all major targets except for the targets of 59 to 57,000. We still have 2 targets sitting down there that we have not tapped yet. But if we come all the way up to this value area high, right? We come all the way to this value area high of 74,000 and get rejected, we are going to be dropping back into this range and we'll most likely take out 59 to 57. Now, if we can flip this value area high of 2024, which is 74,000, and also now if we turn this indicator back on, and I'll just get rid of some of this time frame stuff, this lower time frame, just keep the high time frames. Get rid of that. Get rid of yeah. Keep that. Perfect. All right. So now if we just keep an eye on the larger time frame, Bitcoin right now is sitting below the previous month EQ. 74,300 is also the previous year low. Getting above the previous year low of Bitcoin would be very, very bullish, and it could push us all the way up to the previous month high of February, which was 79,000, right below the 80,500 key area, which is the previous quarter low, the Q4 low of 2025. Right, we reclaimed this area. Once we're above 74,000, 79 to 80,000 is likely. If we flip 80,000, then we're looking at 84 to 87.5. Those are the key areas of resistance on the way up that we need to flip to continue pushing up higher. But like I said, if Bitcoin here, as you guys can see here, a lot of sideways consolidation here for the daily, right? Lots of sideways consolidation here for the daily for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin cannot get above this, if Bitcoin does something like this, right, we just push up here and then get rejected, boom, we're going to be taking out these lows, right? We're going to see something like this. It might not happen within a day, within a week, maybe it's slow, but you know, if it's bear market, look how fast we had this drop. Look how fast we had this drop. Very fast drop. Very fast drop here, right? This drop happened January 29th, we started dropping, and February 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a week, we went from 89,000 down to 59,000 in a week, my friends. In about a week, about 8 to 9 days, we dropped from literally 89 down to 59, dropping $30,000 in a span less than 10 days. So if we get rejected at this 74,900 area, we could be having a quick drop down to 57, whether it takes a week or longer, or maybe even shorter. Very possible. Very possible for Bitcoin. But we shall see. We shall see what comes once we get to that $79,000, $74,000 region. We shall see. Let's go back here into the chat. Let's see what the chat is saying. Internet computer, what can you say about it? Well, it's an altcoin. It's getting crushed like everything else, right? Guys, as a trader, right? I understand why you're asking me that question. Most people ask that question because they are dollar cost averagers. There's people that have been in the markets for a long time. They're looking for altcoins to accumulate over the long term, right? They see ICP, they see a few other narratives and overall projects out there that are very what's the word? Fundamentally bullish, right? But I've given up on fundamentals, guys. I've given up on all fundamentals. Fundamentals don't matter. They just don't, right? Because Bitcoin was fundamentally super bullish at 126,000, yet we crashed, right? Ethereum was bullish at 5,000, but yet we crashed. ICP, Render, Solana, Tau, AVAX, all these things fundamentally very bullish. XRP, fundamentally very bullish, yet we crashed, right? So I'm not accumulating ICP because of the fundamentals, right? I'm not accumulating ICP because of the fundamentals. Now, if we go take a look at the ICP chart, right? Jump out here to the daily. ICP is below the 2025 yearly range. We're below that range. We are currently sitting at $2.44, right? If we get some monthlies here, right? We got a few monthly untapped targets here. We have another one over here. Let's get some quarterlies. Quarterlies have been taken out. Let's take out the yearly. Yearly is right over here. So right now, ICP, right? If I were to be accumulating ICP at $2.44 or lower, targets that I'd be looking for realistically for ICP are 334 to 553. Very realistic targets. If we break above the value area high of 2025, which is $6.40, then we will be looking for targets around $10 to $10.50. Now, those are some pretty big high targets. As you guys can see here, in the overall scheme of things, ICP has been nothing but down. Massive rally in 2024, right? Came all the way up to $20, got rejected off 15 multiple times, dropped all the way down to $5, ran it back up to 15, got rejected again, dropped it back down. What are we doing? High, lower highs. Then in November of 2025, we rallied all the way up to $9.68 out of nowhere, created a lower high, and we're dropping again. So if we pump to $3 to all the way to $6, we could, and be still creating another lower high in continuation to the downside for ICP. When you talk about sweeping the lows or highs, Asia, London, PD, does Bitcoin, does that work on alts too, or just Bitcoin? So it does work on alts as confluence to take a trade. But when you're trading altcoins, right? When you're trading altcoins, the number one thing that people don't realize is that you need to trade the altcoin while looking at the Bitcoin chart, right? Because if you would have seen that Bitcoin was sweeping the London low here for Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was sweeping the London low, signifying that Bitcoin was going to have a potential significant push to the upside. You could have gone over to something like, let's say, Ethereum or Solana, right? And if we look at the 5-minute here, or the 15-minute, right? If we look here at the 15-minute, Solana actually didn't have a very big push up here today, but we were down at $82, right? We were dropped back down around 1445. Is that the same time? Yeah, 1445. Look, 1445, we sweep the lows, right? For Bitcoin, the London low. At 1445 here for Solana was sitting around $82.48. From there to the high here was a 5.36% move for Solana. So you could have taken this Solana trade on the basis that Bitcoin was sweeping and having this move. Because if we get this percent move for Bitcoin, all the way to this tip top here. Jeez, come on, take this magnet off. From here to about here, right? Assuming we get the candle bodies, it's a 3.65% move, right? It is a smaller move. You also need a lot more liquidity. You need a larger position, right? You need a larger position versus if you took the same size position you took on Bitcoin, you took it on Solana and it had a 5% move, right? Because that's kind of what it got. Then you would have made some more money. But for me personally, I don't find it worth it. I don't find it worth it having to juggle two charts of two different assets at the same time and make all my decisions based off one asset to then go trade asset number 2, right? I'd rather just trade Bitcoin. Now, where this comes in handy is, let's say like yesterday, right? You saw that Bitcoin swept the previous week high. Let me turn the previous week high back on. Right, you saw the previous week high sweep, but you saw it down here, right? Let's say you saw it down here at 68,000. You're like, man, I missed it. I missed it, right? I missed the entry for the previous week high sweep. If you're assuming that this drop is going to be a larger drop for Bitcoin, slower throughout the day, potentially might take more than one day, which it did, right? It took over an entire day to drop all the way down to TP2. You could use this same information to then go over, right? Yesterday at 1645, which is when Bitcoin swept the highs. We lost it, right? We got rejected. We lost that entry. We missed that entry, I'm saying. We come down here. You see Solana down here. You're like, well, Solana will probably drop more, right? If you would have entered at this bottom, which would have been a bad entry because it would have moved back up. But let's say you would have entered here all the way down to today, it was a 4.24% move throughout the day of yesterday. Let's measure out Bitcoin. You would have entered down here. Let's say you close it somewhere around here. 3.29%. Still over 1 full percent higher on Solana than Bitcoin. It would have been a bigger move overall to have taken, right? But it comes with the same levels of risk. If Bitcoin goes back up and invalidates this trade, the Solana trade would have been invalidated, meaning you take more risk. You can make more rewards, but you also take on more risk and can lose more money when trades get invalidated. So I personally just like focusing on Bitcoin. I know that it's enticing to trade some of these other assets, especially if you have smaller margin. But just learn how to trade Bitcoin, and none of the other things really matter. I don't find it too beneficial to be juggling two charts, especially when you're new, especially when you're starting out. Maybe when you're more advanced and you have, at least a year of trading experience under your belt and of being consistent and profitable and using and mastering a strategy, then you can start juggling two and taking some trades and some other alts, because I've done it before, but it's just not my regular thing to do, right? If I'm going to use trading as my 9-to-5 job or as a supplemental income, right, I'm here to make money. I'm not here to gamble. I'm not here to be making bets. I'm here to be extracting capital from the market. And the way I'm going to do that is by making sure all my attention is on Bitcoin, knowing exactly where Bitcoin's going and taking the least riskiest, right, the cheapest trade possible to make as much money as I possibly can. Appreciate all you guys in here. Bitcoin to 70 to 72, then back down. Yeah, very potential. Oh, Paul, I see you went robe. Dude, it's late in the afternoon. I already had to go out, run some errands, go to the gym, come back. So the robe's gone for the day. But in the morning, I'm trading in that robe all the morning long. Um, I'm buying all in. I'm buying all in my crypto picks when Bitcoin hits low 50s. Well, yeah, I mean, that would be fantastic, but low 50s is not guaranteed, right? There's no guarantee we're going to go to low 50s. That's where dollar cost averaging and proper risk management comes comes in handy, especially if you're not reading charts, you're just blindly hoping we hit 50,000 and wait for the headlines or the content creators coming out to tell you that we're at 50,000. If you're going to be using that strategy or you're looking for those goals, you definitely should be reading charts. You think Bitcoin is going to crash further? OMG, it could if we get rejected off that 74,000. It definitely could. What happened to Veracity? Kevin Hill was pushing that coin pretty hard and now went silent on it. What happened to it? Same thing that happens to every altcoin that content creators massively push heavily. They all go to zero. When Bitcoin says bull market is over, altcoins drop like it's hot. That's where the risk is on the altcoins. I bought River at 11 and I'm buying more. It will probably reach 30 to 40. Good for you, but that's definitely very high risk, especially in a bear market like this, just because it's up 100%. I am definitely not buying something that's up 100% in a bear market, because it's only a matter of time before it the bed, right? So it's up 63% on the month, up 100% on the week, 33% on the day. Very large price swings. Don't plan on getting in that anytime soon. I don't know anything about that project. I don't even know what that project is about, but just basic risk management says stay away right now. So appreciate all of you guys hanging in here. Appreciate all of you guys smashing those likes. Scott, what's going on, brother? Hope all of you guys are joining the free scalping group. If you guys want to start learning how to scalp and want to start following some scalping trades, make sure you're joining in. It will be ready here. We're just starting it right now. So right now we're just in the process of getting people to join. There is going to be a verification process. So join in there. When the verification process is ready, you guys can verify and you'll be able to stay in the group. And then you guys can start trading with me and start scalping on these markets. So hope to see all of you guys in the group. And like always, go to the link in the profile to join if you're interested. If you're watching over on YouTube, then make sure you're joining with the link down below. Until then, guys, I'll see you in the Crypto Citadel. I'm Blockchain Crusader, crusading through these blockchains. Until next time, see ya.